What is the worst mistake you made while you were passionate? Story 1. Here's a good one. A couple years ago, I was at Thanksgiving staying at my grandma's house. Well, I got a little drunk on some beer and everyone heads off to bed. I'm bored and have started browsing Tinder. And naturally, that led to forums, then passionate sub-forums. So I think, alright, I can hold out, but I haven't done it in about 3 days, so it's just an ocean of nudity in my mindset. I finally caved in and went to the upstairs bathroom. Seeing as one of the 2 downstairs bathrooms had direct connection to my grandmother's bedroom, the other was claimed by my mother and his wife. So both bathrooms are a no-go wanker zones. I got upstairs and brushed my teeth because the beer taste was fading and I plan on passing out after I milk the snake. So I decide to cover my action noises by leaving the water on the sink. So I'm sitting on the toilet doing my thing, and then right when I finished, I notice my feet are wet. Turns out my grandfather was replacing the drains for the sink but never finished before he died. So my uncle just put buckets underneath the sink to catch the water. So in frantic post-orgasmic haste, I start soaking up the water. 5 minutes later, my uncle walks in on me cleaning up a small pond in his bathroom. Thank God I used the brushing my teeth excuse. Heard all about how I flooded the bathroom the next day because of my proper and dental hygiene. I don't know if this one can be seen as a mistake due to passion. Honestly, he could have been doing something else. Maybe he could have been having a conversation he didn't want anyone to hear, and that's why he turned on the water. It's still a funny story though. Story 2. When I started dating my boyfriend, he was living with his parents. His mother is the most religious woman I've ever met. She only had spicy time with her husband to have children, and never again. Anything unsafe for work is unsafe for mother-in-law. I was over one day, and the significant other was watching TV in his room. Things escalated. His mom will not accept us having the door closed, which, okay, it's your house, respect that, but he was 23 at the time. Grand idea. Go to the bathroom, turn fan on. Well, his mother comes looking for us to ask about dinner. We didn't know that until later. We hear a knock on the bathroom door. His dad asking about dinner. We tried to play it off like I was in the bedroom, but he obviously looked in there and didn't buy it. Okay, along with the first story, I think the idea of making noise in the bathroom to cover up what you're doing is not an effective plan. You might be able to mask the sound, but people will still get an idea of what you're up to. You ever hear of those Japanese toilets that have buttons that make noise so they can cover up what you're doing? People still know what you're up to in there. The noise just masks the sound. I think we need a different strategy. Story 3. My mistakes somehow revolve around spicy foods. I let my husband digitally manipulate me while we were cooking dinner one night, and within 5 minutes it felt like I had UTI sent with love directly from Satan himself. Turns out that he hadn't washed his hands thoroughly enough after handling the peri-peri sauce. I was grumpy for a bit about that one. Another time, we were having a morning romp that ended in a facial for me. My husband had to leave for work shortly after. I was still chilling out in bed while wearing my icing when all of a sudden my face started to burn. I tore into the bathroom and scrubbed my face down, and it still felt worse than the worst sunburn I've ever had. Turns out all the hot wings we had eaten recently had affected the acidity of his semen. I hear all these videos about guys saying eating pineapple changes the taste, but this is the first time I've heard about spicy food affecting the acidity of it. It almost sounds like this person had a romp in the hay with a human torch or something. Flame on indeed. I hope it didn't leave a sunburn or sperm burn or whatever. Story 4. When I was 16, I slept with a random 14-year-old girl on a cruise ship. Twice. I felt like hell afterwards because I wanted my first time to be special and with someone I loved. The spicy time itself was good, but the depression afterwards was not. To make matters worse, for 2 months before this happened, I hadn't been talking to my long-distance girlfriend. I don't know why. Her account was deleted and she wasn't replying to me. I finally accepted that she must have hated me and went on the cruise. Well, a few months later, she came back. Apparently, her cousin had deleted her account just to be a shrew. And you know how hard it is to make a second account on Facebook. I felt like hell knowing that I lost my virginity while I still technically had a girlfriend. We're engaged now. Story 5. Dated 2 girls in a row who were hot but crazy. When we broke up, both tried to unalive themselves. The first one broke up with me, and when I wouldn't take her back, she tried to overdose on antidepressants. Permanent heart damage, I'm pretty sure. Second one I broke up with, and she used Panadol. She didn't unalive either, but had messed up kidneys. Both of them directly blamed me, and it was less than 10 months apart. It was awful. I felt completely responsible, and I couldn't cope. At the times, I was 16 and 17. Hell, I had found out both times at school and had to pretend nothing was up. Point is, don't stick your stuff in crazy. Story 6. Hit on a friendly acquaintance one-night stand too aggressively on a subsequent occasion and put him off. Haven't had contact with him again. One that turned out fine, but looked like the start of a horror movie in retrospect was driving to a neighboring state for a hookup at a guy's hunting lodge-esque home in the deep woods. woods. It looked like the remote second location serial unalivers take their victims to. And the whole time I was at the door trying to get his attention, there were humongous spiders dropping out of the trees over the walk from his driveway. Really? A cabin in the woods? Has this person not seen the Evil Dead movies? Or Cabin Fever? Or Friday the 13th? People today are so uncultured. Story 7. I was driving down the highway high as hell, and my girlfriend was giving me road entertainment. I got distracted and missed my exit home, and it was like 4 or 5 a.m., so I couldn't wait. I pulled the car over so I could play with her and finish the job. Once I got back in my seat to start the car, and the car wouldn't start. The mail lady saw us and said she would go get help, and she brought 2 police with her. Me and my girlfriend ended up in jail on felony substance charges, all because I couldn't hold out another 30 minutes. Good times. Good times. Story 8. If you miss a couple days on the pill, it becomes effective as soon as you start taking it again. You don't have to wait a full cycle. Yeah? Let me introduce you to my daughter. I mean, I love my daughter and wouldn't trade her for anything, but her existence kinda messed up the whole planning part of family planning. Edit. For gosh sakes, people. Happy now? Was it really too hard to tell what I meant? Story 9. Parents were out of town for the weekend. My grandma was still at the house, but I figured she wouldn't bother me. Invited my girlfriend over and proceeded to have rough spicy time in parents' bed. Grandma starts banging on the door shouting, "I know what you're doing. Open this door." We get dressed and exit the room. Grandma makes girlfriend go home. Go back to parents' bedroom to grab something, and grandma is removing the sheets, saying that there's semen all over them. It was pretty much the worst case scenario. Not gonna lie, grandma's kind of a buzzkill. Did grandma have hearing problems? Is that why this person thinks she wouldn't hear? This grandma should be playing football with as much of a blocker as she is. Story 10. Put my finger on my best mate's girlfriend. One of my lowest moments. Not getting much at home, very drunk, really bored with life. One of the most regrettable things I've ever done. It's all okay now. It was a stupid, regrettable act of idiocy on both our parts. Everyone knows about it, which is our fault. But miss me if I didn't get 6 months of grief about it from my girlfriend. Long-term girlfriend. 2 kids. Experimented with self-unaliving. Didn't try to unalive myself, but strung myself up with a few belts to see what happened. Story 11. Covered my entire body in Vicks Vapor Rub. The tingling felt pretty gosh good at first, but after a few minutes became incredibly uncomfortable. No worries, I'll just hop in the shower and clean it off. Well, prior to doing this, I had been doing some butt play in the shower for a long time, so the hot water was completely depleted. I only had ice cold water to get this stuff off of me with. Have you ever drank a cold glass of water after chewing some extremely mint gum? Imagine that feeling. Story 12. Driving around with my girlfriend. She told me to pull over somewhere. We found a nice long dirt road that we thought no one would drive by. Turns out we were on private property, and the owner of the land pulled up in a truck and caught us and said he was going to report us after screaming at us. Luckily, nothing happened afterwards. Another story of automobile spicy time gone wrong. To be fair, at least it wasn't on the highway like the last story. I think they did their due diligence in trying to find a spot where they wouldn't disturb anyone. Maybe they were too excited and didn't see any signs denoting property. That I could believe. And thankfully, nothing did come of it. Story 13. I thought I'd give Craigslist a shot. A woman had just posted something when I checked, and her no-strings situation worked for me. So did her looks. Sent her a message with my photo, and we met an hour later. We had sweaty car spicy time probably 20 times over the course of a week. Never used protection. I was lucky to have walked away from that with no kids and no STDs. I don't even know if she told me her real name. Story 14. Got a drunken, under-the-scratchy blanket hand play on an international flight from a girl I had been drinking wine with. It was awesome. Until we landed, and my parents, who had been sitting one row up and across the aisle, let me know that we hadn't been as sneaky as we thought we were. Story 15. Not passionate, but is still dumb and involves corn. I was using my Steam Link to stream while a friend was over. We were bored, and so I decided to show him corn. I thought my monitors were off. Nope, both on, and my PC is in the kitchen, so my sister and grandmother saw it. Wait, you're saying this involves corn, but you weren't passionate. You were just bored. Maybe I'm out of the ballpark here, but maybe you've got a problem. If that's what you turn to when you're bored, you might need to talk to someone about that. At least that'll teach you never to use the Steam Link for anything suspicious like that again. Story 16. I had a girl that liked me, and I didn't like her. She was very nice, but just not my type. One night we were at a party, and we hooked up. I was drunk and passionate. Not in that order. After that, she turned very stalkerish. It ended up being a rough few months until she moved on. Worse yet. Story 17. Played on the floor of a disgusting park bathroom. My stepdad had a rule that I can't play in the house while he's home, so me and my ex made do. The bathroom was disgusting. Lights didn't work or didn't have a knob, and there was probably something in the toilet and something on the floor. Would not do again. Edited. Autocorrected some funky stuff to this post. Story 18. Back in middle school, I'd stay up up until at least 1 a.m. waiting for the HBO corns and Girls Gone Wild infomercials to come on. The stupid thing is that I'm paralyzed from the waist down and don't have any sensation in my stuff to jack off. But my stupid teenage brain would be all, hey, stay up real late so we can see some boobs. That is the worst kind of phantom limb syndrome I've ever heard of. I've wondered how people who have lost or don't have any feeling in that part of themselves due to an accident still find time to be able to feel anything there, or how they feel anything there. Not being able to act on those impulses must be torturous. This one I kind of feel bad for the guy. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video, and have a wonderful day. Story 19. Slept with a stalker on my birthday night out. She had been after me for months, and basically C-blocked me for a year after. I know she did because I had a few female friends tell me she was warning girls off me, saying we were dating. She also tried befriending my current girlfriend until I told her about her. Proper weirdo. Story 20. My friend passed out. His girlfriend and I get to talking, and she calls me a wussy and challenges me to wrestle her. It was a messy mix of grinding, choking, and biting. She was pretty tough. No clothing was removed, and we were both sore and sticky. I tried to date her years later, but she said there was no way. Story 21. Got in a car with a very drunk female driver and a dude. Both were at least 20 years my senior. Or when I slept with my ex's mom. Or when I got an oral spicy time from a dude. I'm a straight guy. I don't think this is much of a passion problem as it is a drinking problem. Sounds like if this person didn't drink so much, he might be able to control his excitement. Yes, I know that's a bit of a reductive thing, but that's just the comment I have for now. Maybe it's time to look into Alcoholics Anonymous. Story 22. I know this story from my mom, but my uncle had to go to the ER room because he got his stuff stuck in his vacuum cleaner too. His excuse was that he was vacuuming the carpet naked and it somehow sucked his stuff stuck. Story 23. I don't actually know what I did, but apparently it was something because my mom on one fine day approached me in the kitchen and told me very sternly that I should lock my door more. To this day, I have no idea what she saw. I locked my door though. Story 24. I don't even know how to word this without it sounding absolutely ridiculous, because it's actually absolutely ridiculous. When I was a teenager, a guy convinced me that it would be perfectly okay for him to go a few thrusts with saran wrap as protection. Honestly, that is desperation on both parties' parts. Shame on him for lying, but shame on this person for believing the lie. There's just too many jokes to make about factory-sealed freshness. Hopefully, they threw away the used saran wrap afterwards. Story 25. Agreeing to a monogamous relationship with my second girlfriend. She had H-cups. I just wanted to play and ball, but I failed to duck out after. We were just too different for it to ever work. I wasted 8 months on that. I was a jerk. Story 26. I had a drunken, C-substance-fueled night with my best friend and her boyfriend. They asked me if I wanted to have a threesome. I couldn't really stand him, but I also hadn't had spicy time in a long time, so I went with it. Afterwards, he told everyone who would listen about that night. Story 27. Day before Thanksgiving. Was passionate. Called over a massage therapist. Paid her $200, and as she was giving me the massage, I made a move. Turns out she was actually just a massage therapist. It was a sad jerk-off sesh once she left. Did this guy assume all massage therapists aren't legit? I have to put that one on him. He needed to do his due diligence. I mean, come on. Try to at least get some coded language or try to get the message across before making a commitment. Story 28. Not really a mistake, but more of a waste of time. But driving 3 hours one way just to go drink with a girl and have spicy time. Was a fun night, but the drive wasn't really worth it. 6 hours on the road total just to play. Story 29. Had a long day on a construction site, a martial arts class after, and took a cute girl home after. The day's work and workout was too much. I fell asleep midway through. I explained and apologized, but it was my one shot. Never got another. Story 30. Began a friends with benefits type deal with a previously platonic friend who was also a virgin at that stage. Turned out they couldn't deal with that setup as their first time, and they ended up becoming super clingy. Yeah, the first time is going to be very interesting. You don't know how anyone will react. They're going to experience things and feelings they have never experienced in their life. I think there had to be a lot bigger discussion happening there. I think this guy was too excited to be with a virgin. Story 31. Taking a break from making habanero hot sauce to jerk off. I washed my hands, but obviously not well enough. When my fiance got home from work, she wanted to bang, and I had to explain why that was a bad idea. Story 32. I boned my ex's friend not 24 hours after we went on a break to try and reevaluate our 6-year relationship, and then caught feelings for her friend. This all happened within the last day. Story 33. We didn't stop becoming friends completely, but it damaged the friendship, and things never became what they were again. Yep, again, this is what happens when you let something else besides your brain do the thinking. You need to find some other release so you can think clearly. Even if you think this is your one shot with that person, look just a little bit ahead. Story 34. Texting my ex-girlfriend. Got too into it and sent a picture to an old boss. Never heard anything, but to this day I fear seeing him in public one day. Story 35. While I was 19, my aunt came down from Colombia and paid a visit. Haven't seen her for like 12 years before that. She was looking good. You know the rest. Story 36. Playing late night truth or dare with a drunk girl and ended up doing a watermelon, and later using the melon juices and such as lube. Too sticky. Well, at least you didn't have to worry about any allergic reactions. It would really suck if that person was allergic to watermelon. It would really suck if the girl knew the guy was allergic to watermelon and made the dare anyway. It would suck even more if she filmed it. Story 37. I wanted to self-stimulate, but instead started my menstruation when a glob of blood plopped out. I didn't know when my cycles were, so I downloaded a tracking app the next day. Story 38. Nearly setting the kitchen on fire. Don't put something on the stove and think you can head upstairs for a quickie. The gas stove is quicker than you. Story 39. Driving through a blizzard to play with a friend with benefits at 2 a.m. I almost lit my truck and got snowed in at her place for the next day, but whatever. Had spicy time. Yeah, forget drinking and driving. Don't be passionate with driving. It's good to have a goal in mind, but I think you can be a little too focused in how you're going to get there. Maybe the next version of automatic driving in the Teslas will be able to detect this kind of stuff. Story 40. Swiping right in my gallery and it changed from corn to a family photo right before I released the goo. Story 41. Tried to have spicy time in my brand new Miata yesterday. That car is way too small and almost got caught by security. Story 42. Working with peppers to get that perfect fire for a spicy Thai dinner. I'll let your imagination run wild with that if you forget to wash your hands. Again with the spicy food and the hands. Hopefully you don't get that stuff near your eyes. Your hands, I mean. Well, technically, I mean the other stuff too. Just avoid the spicy all around. Story 43. When I was 13, I used toothpaste as lube. It started out with a nice warm tingle, but soon evolved into the worst junk burning I've ever experienced. Story 42. Self-stimulated with soap. Nothing can stop the burning of a soapy urethra. Even urinating to wash it out just makes it worse. Story 45. Drove 150 miles thinking I was getting a sure thing, but I've also driven 200 miles, so maybe that paid off. I'll gamble every time. That story can't have happened with the recent gas prices. Or maybe it has, I don't know. I'm just saying, with the prices as high as they are right now, I would expect this person to ask the partner to chip in, even if it didn't end up being a sure thing. I could definitely see that happening today. Story 46. Ran out of lotion one day. I refused to beat it dry, so used shampoo. Didn't wash it off. I thought my junk was going to fall off. Story 47. Stuck my junk in crazy more times than I care to admit. Even dated one. She wrecked my car, stole my spice rack, and exactly 1/2 of my bacon. Story 48. Put my gum on my junk and started working it. Got stuck in my pubes and then had to Google how to get it out. Gum? I'm sorry, I don't know in any way how that could be fun. Still thinking it over in my head. Nope, not fun one way or the other. This person's crazy. Too crazy. Don't use gum, people. Just don't. Story 49. My mom almost caught me doing my girlfriend over my grandpa's, my dad's dad, pool table. No way she wasn't suspicious. Story 50. Ex's mom caught us fooling around on camera while she was gone for the week. She was surprisingly cool about it and more upset we chose the pool table instead of a bed. Story 51. I had the classic icy hot on the junk moment myself. I'm sure the internet has more interesting experiences than that. Oh, there's a lot on the experiences here. But don't worry, my dude, we'll still laugh at you. Too many people are making this mistake. It should be obvious. We're still gonna laugh. It's still funny. Story 52. Spent way too much on a spicy toy. Like the toy that connects to your computer and moves with the corn. Story 53. I slept with an ex's twin who then got pregnant and had a kid. Man, that breakup was vicious, but I did get a cute kid from it. Story 54. I don't know what gave me this horrible idea, but smearing mint toothpaste over my orbs resulted in really chilly, painful orbs for a few hours. Just the orbs? Not the other part of it? Was this meant to be lube? Was this just meant to be some sort of sensory addition? I gotta be honest, I don't know what the end game is here. Story 55. Was with two friends, one of whom was kinda into me but got really drunk and passed out. Ended up doing the other one, but now neither of them them will talk to me, and I feel bad. Story 56. Probably just became overly attached to people who didn't share the same feelings. Story 57. The best answers will never be seen. Those people are dead or in prison. This is very true. There are a lot of stories we're probably missing here. I think those with a morbid sense of humor are going to be missing out more here. The eulogies at those funerals must be a laugh riot. Story 58. Hitting on a girl. I'll never forget her screams of absolute terror. Story 59. Grabbed this girl's butt at a party once over 4 years ago. Now we're engaged. Story 60. Never, and I do mean never, use liquid dish detergent as a choice of lube for a quick rub out. All of these different stories of all of these different substances that aren't the right thing. Have the right stuff on hand. You can still get it legally. If you're having that much of a trouble, find out where it is. Or are you afraid to ask the person behind the counter for it? I realize some places lock it up behind glass, but come on, man. Too many people are willing to risk damaging themselves. Story 61. Put my thumb in my girlfriend's vagina. Just my thumb. Story 62. Banged a stalker who was finally starting to let up. It made things a lot worse. Story 63. Accidentally sent a junk pic to my sister instead of girlfriend. That's the beginning of a whole popular section of videos on porn sites right now. I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying, has your sister mentioned it, or is she using it as blackmail? Story 64. Wasted precious hours edging instead of finishing and getting on with my day. Story 65. Well, making no obstacle of not having a condom. Story 66. Got my wife pregnant 5 times. Now we have all these kids. It's a nightmare. I hope this guy's just being really sarcastic. It would be kind of a tragedy if this was an anonymous confession. I'm pretty sure this guy's being sarcastic. Wow, 5 kids. You'd think if they were serious, they would start taking more precautions after the first or second kid. Story 67. I stuck my stuff in crazy. Unmanaged schizophrenia crazy. Story 68. Memory is a blur. Something about a coconut. Story 69. Nice. Used an orange as an F-light. Did not work. Got malware on my computer. Wait, are those two together? How does using an orange get you malware on your computer? I'm not following. Maybe because he didn't use an apple. Yeah, I'll stop now. Story 70. Have you met my kids? Jordan and Kaylin. Story 71. Starting an argument with my girlfriend. Story 72. Your mother coldly snaps. Oh yes, the rare insult of your mom. She probably saves that when you're being really annoying. It's hard to come back from that one, especially when she says it in front of company. Story 73. Where's the coconut guy? Story 74. Developed a corn addiction. Story 75. Ex-girlfriend's little sister is on the list. Ugh, I think there needs to be a little more detail in that one. I don't know if I should be laughing at that one or cringing. What list is he talking about? And is it a list of things that have already happened? Or is it a list of things he wants to happen? Story 76. Beating my meat with shampoo. Story 77. Never use sunscreen for lube. Story 78. Today I learned being uncut is a privilege. Wait, did he think all people were uncut? Definitely the first sign that he didn't grow up in a religious family. And how did he find out? Either he was showering with a bunch of people, or he's gay, or maybe he attended a multi-person spicy time party? Who knows? Story 79. Putting icy hot in my junk. Story 80. Use deep heat as lube. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.